Welcome to the Divorce Dad Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy.
I'm Scott Levy.
Scott, here's the thing. So I had a song all ready to start the episode, but then I had to change it. I had to shift gears on us, and I'll explain why in a second. It's been a week. This is going to be an interesting show, and I already know it. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I mean, I do because I always know what we're going to talk about, but I don't know.
I don't know what we're going to talk about.
No, I don't know how it's going to go. We're going to have to do some dancing, but first, my ex came over the other day to go over presents for the kids. Like I bought a bunch of stuff. It doesn't all have to be for Hanukkah, so it's Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever. And what happened was the kids found these old records that they thought I would want to put up. So I want to show you because they're probably yours and Paul's. One is for people who are watching on our YouTube channel is the Muppet Alphabet album starring Jim Henson's Muppets from Sesame Street. And this is like the 70s. I mean, if you look at Big Bird, that's 70s Big Bird here.
Former Terp, Jim Henson.
I was going to say Big Bird, not a Terp. And then we got the official Sesame Street 2 album. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty neat.
I would say that those belong to Paul.
Well, probably because Paul's the cooler brother, but either way.
Because Sesame Street in our 40s is really cool.
Well, because of that, what I wanted to do was play this as our theme song today. As I hit play. Do you remember this?
I don't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No, I can't hear it.
Well, I made a mistake.
I just see your head bopping.
Okay. See, now this is going to be funny, and I swear I didn't do this on purpose. Let me come back. Hello.
Hey.
This is a great start to the episode. I know what I did. My apologies. I have to share computer sound. That would probably help, right?
The expert in podcasting is giving me.
You're going to see how funny this is in a second, Scott.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Can you see it now?
I saw it the whole time.
Mistakes are not so bad, and here is why.
Boom!
Oh, everyone makes mistakes, so yes they do.
Now you need to figure out if I did that on purpose
or
if I just made a mistake.
Big people, small people, matter of fact,
all
people. Everyone makes mistakes, so why can't you? You make a mistake, kids. Don't worry.
Can I just run this the whole time instead of us?
Please no.
If you make a mistake while counting up to 10.
There you go. Everyone makes mistakes.
It's an apropos. I think you actually made a mistake in not playing the sound, but that was ironic choice of song.
All right, Alanis Morissette. I don't believe that's how you define ironic. I believe that was perfect. It was perfectly mistaken, which honestly I'll say is probably how I feel about my life right now. Purposefully mistaken. This was my fear. The show is out. By the way, are you hosting in the BBC after this? What's happening with the?
I mean, I wanted to get ahead of your tortoise or whatever British thing you're doing, so I'm trying to match. No, TARDIS. Sorry.
Yes, TARDIS. And you know that at this point, you're just doing it to annoy me.
Did it work?
Yeah, actually. So here's a couple of things. The original song that I wanted to play, which I couldn't find, but this came once I got these albums. I thought that was a better bet. Is I was going to play Beastie Boys' "Sabotage," but since we have rights issues and by the way, YouTube flagged the Barry Manilow. Looks like we made it when Max and I were hugging on the YouTube on the Instagram Reels. So just a fun fact, which I didn't realize, even though we imported Reels into another app and then put that on YouTube. YouTube was like, nope, can't use the song. So just a heads up on that. We're going to have to go more generic next time. Nice. But I was going to use Sabotage. And what I wanted to find, and I can't believe I can't find this. So if anybody can, please send me an email, dan@divorcedadplaybook.com. Scott, for those who want to send him memes, is scott@divorcedadplaybook.com. I wanted to find Beastie Boys Sabotage on like opera or classical music, like have an orchestra. And the only thing I could find is like an orchestral bed underneath the actual words of the group playing. but there's got to be somebody out there. There's got to be some symphony or whatever that has done Sabotage straight strings or straight opera singing. It has to be.
We could do some karaoke. I don't think we get flagged for doing that.
My voice doesn't get as high as them. And we need a third.
We need a third. Right.
We're only two Jews. We need a third
just
Jew.
us. Two Jews.
Did I ever tell you my Beastie Boys story? We'll save that for later if we have time at the end of the show. It's not a great story, but it's a funny story. So if it's a callback. If we get to it, we'll get to that. But we have more pressing things to talk about today. What I want to talk about.
We're already talking about make mistakes and sabotage. This is how we started it out. So where are we headed?
My life this week. So here we go. What I was afraid of, this is, we've done double-digit episodes already. What I was afraid of is that we taped a bunch of these in advance, and I knew that people were going to hear them. And what you don't know, and I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I'll say it. Maybe you do know, I tried, the first book I ever tried to write was sort of like a not memoir, but like a dude in his 20s, blah, blah, blah. And I needed to do that. I needed to clear out a lot of the junk that was in my head at the time. It was very cathartic. I would sit in a bar in New Brunswick and just like write from happy hour until close. And that's a long time in a bar in New Brunswick. And it never got published, but I felt good about it. The reason it never got published is because I realized if that book got out, unless it was super huge, I was going to make everyone in my life hate me. And I didn't think at that point in my life, it was worth it to have our parents or maybe even you. I don't remember if I wrote anything about you. But, and other people who I grew up with hating me because of what I wrote. I feel like that's what's happening here, where my candor and honesty, Scott, has benefited the audience. And then by whatever the process of spitting back at me, but has benefited us and the show, may not be benefiting the interpersonal relationships that I have in my life. And I think I may have done some damage.
I don't think that's so shocking to us. You're super candid. I don't know exactly what kind of damage you're talking about.
I think people hate me. And I
think people.
Yeah, no, actually, I do think it's more than one person. And obviously, if there was one person in my life who would not be pleased with me talking about topics that would be talked about on a divorced dad playbook, I think everyone can surmise who that person may be. But it's more than that. And let's maybe jump across the familial stuff for a minute, because that doesn't necessarily pertain, because not everyone listening to this is doing a podcast and doesn't have that. But I think here's the one that I think we can connect to the audience. I have been very open in public about going out and my thoughts on a lot of stuff, and the whole idea of trying to live a mindful life. Living mindfully is very healthy for the person, but it's very damaging for the people around the person if you don't do it right. And I think maybe I'm not doing it right. I think I'm using people as props. I think that I fell back into a very deep regression in the borderline personality challenge that I've had. And maybe it has to do with the fact that I haven't had a therapist keeping me in check for the last couple of weeks, and I will rectify that soon. But I feel like I'm using people as props. I feel like I'm Barney Stinson. Wait for it. I was joking. That was their time to talk. I was telling everybody else to wait for it.
I understand. We love Barney Stinson, by the way. We love.
He's a sociopath and a monster, and his character was so bad. For people who don't know what we're talking about, that's Neil Patrick Harris's character on the
How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother, yeah, which went on for 8 seasons too long. And then the payoff was the worst. Literally the worst payoff, other than the Dexter finale. Worst payoff in the history of television. 100%.
We love that show. I watched it 20 times.
Yeah, because anyway,
his character bite-sized chunks is easy.
Neil Patrick Harris's character was such a monster and so terrible to women that he literally had to come out during the filming of that show 1 year to be like, I'm not like this. I'm gay. Most of you knew this already, but I just want to make it official. That's how bad of a person. Good character, bad person. And this goes back to like the Larry David thing. Like I used to joke around and be like, I live my life like Larry David. Like I'm indignant all the time. I don't let anybody put up with anything. I'll say whatever I want. And my ex used to tell me years ago, that's great for an HBO television character, but it's not great for a guy in his 30s or 40s who wants to have friends and family and people like him, because he's a monster and everyone hates him. It's funny to watch, not funny to be a part of. And I think I'm less cantankerous, but now I feel like I don't know which character is better to be.
Wait, so are you saying you're a cross between Larry David and Barney Stinson?
Right now, which is the weirdest combination ever, right? I mean, that's
a weird combo.
Talk about a love child.
So I just don't. I'm trying to understand.
That child would not be pretty. Sorry.
Oh boy.
I
I believe that you're probably overthinking this. And I think maybe if we're taking the Barney Stinson character, and you probably are more like that. I mean, Larry David, we'll kind of park Larry David for a moment.
That's fine.
I think there's too much of a stretch.
It's not a stretch at all, but it's fine. Not pertinent to the conversation we're having right now.
To combine these, I think you're going out with a lot of women, but I think that that's normal. I think that what you're doing is new to you. I don't think it's new to people who are just getting out of a relationship and first year out and trying to figure things out. I actually think you're probably more communicative than most men are with women and dating, and that probably just is making you feel a little bit guilty.
I do feel guilty. And here's the thing about that. And I actually I think we talked about this maybe even on the last episode, but I had discussions this week with friends and with people I was frankly on dates with. And yes, it has come to my attention that just being completely honest with people, while it does eventually scare people off, and that is something we've talked about before, it does allow people to cut through the bullshit and get to know me very quickly. I went back, and for people who maybe have come in late on this show and didn't want to go back, please do, because they're not time sensitive necessarily. I mean, the first episode I think we talked about, or second episode we talked about you having COVID and how we're dealing with kids and COVID. This week, and this is like months later, my kids are going full remote. So I mean, these stories are still around, So go back and listen to the first 10 or so, because I think they're all pertinent. But in one of those episodes, our friend Nicole Ananda, yesterday I was cutting up the interview that I did with her about a lot of the sexual dysfunction and sex therapy. So I was listening back for the first time in a couple of weeks, actually. And it was so pertinent because we spent like a good 5 minutes on this whole mindfulness idea, and how she said like she can make a connection with someone that she's never met in 5 minutes if you're really present with that person and they're present with you. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel on some of these dates. I mean, look, you and I were on a text the other day. I had a date and she was 45 minutes late again. And I literally texted her. It was raining. We had outside seating under a veranda. And I texted her. I said, look, I mean, it's been a while. I'm going to head out. And then I saw somebody walk in who looked like her. And I sent a text. I said, unless that's you. And she wrote back from the stand where the check-in stand. She was like, that is me. Please hold on. I'm so sorry. She sat down. We got poured on. We moved. It was a great date. Like, awesome. I really, really like this woman. I almost left. I'm so glad that I didn't. But I went out with somebody earlier that day because of scheduling, and I texted you after that, and I'm like, this woman was a 12. She's amazing. And now I have no idea what the fuck to do.
Well, again, I think that, all these things, like again, you talk about Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, and that is a character of a type of person. You're a real person. You're going through real things. Caricature.
You mean caricature?
I said caricature.
No, like this is a character. That right there, like that's a bird.
But I meant caricature. I don't know that came across on the microphone.
That's a grouch. Also, kind of this one's a grouch too.
Bro, Bert.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Here we go. Yeah.
What did Ernie say when his best friend asked if he wanted ice cream?
I don't know.
Sure, Bert.
It's amazing you get a date at all.
Boom. By the way, that is the only and best dad joke that I have ever made up.
That's the only that anyway. Can we get back onto you love just sort of going around and about it.
Do you want to get back
Can
to
I
it?
talk about I would
Sure,
like to get
Bert.
back to this Jesus. Help me.
I don't think Jesus is helping either of us, but proceed. Go ahead. It's all you.
I have faith in something. So in any case, I believe that you're going through the normal stuff, Dan. I mean, come on. You've been dating, a lot of people for quite some time. Now you're starting to realize that it's exhausting. It's hard to keep up with all of these people. And when you go out, it's natural. You start to look at people and you say, I don't want to hang out with her again. And you look at other people and you're like, wow, I really had a great time. I would love to hang out with her again.
Right.
And you start to whittle things down. So I don't think you're being a terrible person. I think you're just going through the normal process that people go through as they get back out into the world of dating, that you're trying to figure out what is going to make you happy. And at the beginning, nothing really makes you happy. So you just go out with as many people as you can. You have moments of being present and happiness.
Right.
But then you get to this point where you feel guilt for doing this.
Well, okay. So a couple of things about that. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
I remember like early on when we first started taping the show, it might even predated that, but like there was a week where I didn't have the kids and I was like, I'm going to go on an epic run and it's going to be like legend
Dairy.
And it wasn't, stuff happens. Now I did actually have somebody cancel on Monday of this week, which was fine because I was drained figuratively and frankly, literally. And
it was also a part of How I Met Your Mother. Literally. And Ted's like, you mean figuratively? She's like, no, I mean literally.
Well, that's gross. But anyway, here's what happened during this. And again, I'm trying to keep this as broad as possible, but look, I mean, everybody has their level of standards, who they like, what kind of person they're looking for, and shallow speaking for a second, like the attractiveness level, it's all a show. You're all, it's all just dancing in a window for people. And then if you match, you talk, you see if you know each other or get to know each other intellectually or emotionally. And then it goes from there. And I think going back to my whole thing that I was talking with Nicole about being present is because I have worked very hard at that, Scott, and because I have the ability, and at least I try to have the ability to be present, dates are really awesome sometimes. And now let me finish this. Dates are really awesome. And then I leave that date and the next day or the following day after that, or a couple hours later, I go and have another date that is also awesome. Now, if I'm hanging out with 4 or 5 different people in 4 or 5 days that are all awesome dates that end awesome, and I know I'm saying awesome a lot. I'm trying to nail in the Neil Patrick Harris thing here. They all had one awesome date that week. Now they all like me because their date. Now they may have had more. I'm not saying I'm not naive enough to know that they weren't going out with other people. Hear me out.
Right.
But what happens when you go out with 4 or 5 people where every single one of them you say to yourself, I can see myself with this person for an extended period of time. I'm tired of getting ghosted. I'm tired of getting canceled on the day of. I'm tired of people showing up 45 minutes late, although ironically that person is one person who I think I could hang out with a lot. But I'm tired of those games. I want to, and especially with the COVID stuff happening, especially with lockdown on the world about to happen around us, I want to find somebody who I can be comfortable with and consistent with. And then I realized but I can't have 4 people. I mean, maybe 2 for a while, maybe 2 for a couple of weeks until you figure out which one you like better. I mean, but still,
maybe.
But so this mindfulness thing backfired when you find 3 or 4 people who you consider like legit 10.
It's
like legit.
Backfiring. It's not backfiring.
Legit.
Nope, not backfiring. You're taking what she said. You're interpreting what she said in your way instead of the way that she meant it. And what she's saying is you don't need to be present with 5 people in order to be happy. You need to find a person who
Okay.
you feel good about and be present with that person. You don't have to see them every day. You can see them a couple times a week. That's okay. It's okay to build a relationship with somebody. It's okay. That's about being present. The point she was making was not, yes, she did say that she could be in the presence of someone and feel connected to them within minutes and feel like she loves them for some reason, some aspect of them, but she's not in love with everyone she is around.
Right.
The whole point is, in order to be present and to be happy, truly happy, you're working yourself through a process and you're realizing, and I think the people that haven't listened to shows before this one should go back, because you can actually see you go through this process that many people who are listening are probably thinking about themselves, and you're at a critical junction.
I want to read 2 texts that I got this week. One from a woman who I've talked about on the show, who was the first person that I was like, wow, this woman is amazing. And she wants to be exclusive with me. And I can't be the person that she thinks I can be yet. That needs to be on hold. Like maybe eventually, and I still believe this, like maybe we joke around a lot because we're still friendly. And I said, maybe eventually when I get my shit together more, I will feel more confident. But she really liked me. She saw something in me that frankly, I didn't really see at that time. She texted me because we've been talking about this. And I said, like, this is a run. Like people have good runs. This is a run. This is like a 30 for 30 situation. If you're doing the math, back to back days or whatever, for people who like ESPN.
This is literally, not figuratively, this is literally How I Met Your Mother. Barney Stinson tried for the perfect week. 7 for 7. There was a whole episode about it.
I remember that episode, which is why I brought up Bernie Sanders. Oh my God. Now I've made the connection.
Nice.
Barney Stinson, Bernie Sanders, Larry David.
I don't get the connection at all.
Larry David played Bernie Sanders on SNL. Bernie Sanders sounds like Barney Stinson. They have the same initials in Bernie and Barney. Wait for it.
That was a
I'll
weird
tell you right now,
connection.
the 1% is legendary.
You could just do this yourself if you want. You could do voices and characters or caricatures.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I do a decent Bernie Sanders, by the way, don't I? I mean, like it's decent.
Did
I tell you my Bernie Sanders story? Oh my God, that's better than my Beastie Boys story.
Dude, can you just finish your thought?
Okay, so here's what she wrote me.
Yay.
And my and I know that I'm saying this is like a Simpsons joke. My blood is pumping with the H this morning in ADHD, not.
Well, for everyone
like
who's listening that has problems similar, be mindful.
It's when Marge Simpson said the only thing I made this with was the love of a son and daughter. Yes, a little LSD is what got me through. Anyway, what the hell happened to my computer? Did I just disappear?
No, you froze for a second.
Am I back? Are we back?
You never left, buddy.
Well, one of my screens just died. Good for you. Don't set yourself up for failure here. Hot chicks with their shit together don't want dudes who date as extracurricular. Think about that. 4 exclamation points. She's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
And so that I really took that to heart because I
actually like her for you.
She's great. I'm just not she knows that we're not at a point right now but well, you know what's interesting about that? Like we still joke around about like once I get this out of my system, again, figuratively and maybe literally, that might be there. Like the two of us might have a thing eventually because we do get along and because she appreciates my honesty and she's not afraid of me because she's very confident in herself, but she has all the information. And so at the end of this run the other day, I got asked the question, like, when's the last time you got tested and not for COVID? And I was like, it's been a bit. And the night went from amazing to, oh my God. And now I am going actually. So I'm being responsible about this, but like, it didn't even cross my mind that I could be doing like physical damage to people in addition to the emotional damage. It just didn't in the moment and even out of the moment, my brain didn't process that as even something to consider. And that's really scary because I'm an adult and these people have families and lives, and frankly, they deserve better than that. And that's where I go to we joke around, everybody makes mistakes. That's why I wanted to start this show with Sabotage, because that's really shitty of me and irresponsible. And I don't seem to care, Scott. I don't know if it's the manic part of this pinch of bipolarism that I'm dealing with or what, but I don't care. And then I'm told, and then I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, that's just reckless. So you need to get that shit together.
I'm telling you, I know.
I understand, and I think, but I think you're combining a lot of things. I think that you are, you're talking about the people hate you, which is not accurate. These women make choices too. They don't have to go out on a date with you. You're not forcing them to go on a date with you. They choose to. You match on a dating app. They're looking for a date. Hold on, they're looking for a date. The fact that you decide and you're honest about it, that you're dating multiple women because that's the stage that you're in. Lots of people are in those stages too, and they're just not honest about it. So that's number one. And I would doubt that all of these women are just going out on a date with you and waiting for the next time to go out with them.
I also don't know if when somebody says, have you been with people recently, that they expect it to be within the last 12 hours, but nonetheless, keep going.
Well, again, that is your own uniqueness. I've never
not 12 hours. I had a date, 12, whatever.
I just have never done what you're doing, period. But that doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying that that's just what you do versus what I've done in the past. What I will say is, in this current state of the world, you need to be more mindful. I mean, look, you're meeting people out, like for the most part, I would imagine. Like I know you were out at a restaurant. You said you were getting drenched, and then you had to go inside, supposedly, whatever. So you're meeting people out. People who go out at this point have know that there's the potential for them to be exposed. I think that you going out with multiple people in a short period of time is a little reckless, and I think you need to stop doing that. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. That's what I'm saying. That if you're liking some of these women, like try and hang out with one for a little while. Like I think you're falling into the trap that a lot of people do when they get out and they start dating and they get on these apps, is you think that these people are never going to be around. You think you see the 10s and the hottest girls on the dating apps, and you have to go out with them as soon as possible, or else they're not going to be there. And what you've recognized over time, what a lot of people ultimately recognize, is that there's always more women that are making themselves available. If you don't find the right person now, you do it. Again, it took me 8 years to find somebody that I really, really, really like to be around and I really appreciate. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. But there's always more people.
I do the math in my head of how many nights that does take. It's like 25.
That's a long effing time.
It's like 3,000 nights almost. I think more than that. That's a lot of nights.
I did a lot of work on myself in there too. It wasn't that I wasn't dating. It's that
I could barely survive the last 5.
Right. I wasn't dating the right people. That's what it was. I wasn't dating the right people, and I wasn't ready for it.
Okay, so so this is the one thing that I have learned, and then I want to get to another text that I got from someone else. This is something that I have learned, and I tried. I actually believed early on that I was very particular about who I would match with. I want to match with somebody who I find an emotional connection with, or more intellectual connection. Because I want to meet people. We keep bringing up Nicole, and by the way, go listen to that interview. You can go on our YouTube or go onto the site. It's cut up into different segments, and you can find it anywhere. Or just if you're listening to this on podcast, just go back and listen to, I think she was in episode 5, I believe. Go check that one out if you haven't yet. But the thing that I keep going back to is that, sometimes instantly that you make a connection with someone, and it doesn't have to be physical. And you can find them on dating apps. 2 or 3 of my closest friends, people who I trust with anything, her included, I met on these dating apps. So I don't want to shut people off. I want to meet people, Scott, and take this opportunity to get to know people as a human. The problem is then they fall for me. And even if I don't fall in love with them right away, they seem really cool. They're attractive. And I thought I'm an idiot if I don't give this a chance. But then I'm juggling 20 people, and people are like, well, how could you do that? And I'm thinking, well, because I'd meet 20 people and 20 people are cool, and it whittles down. I don't meet 20 people out in person. But when you hit a run like I hit, where it's like, okay, I'm going to hang out with 2 people I've hung out with before because it's comfortable and fun, and we had a good time the first couple of times, or one I've been hanging out with on and off for 4 months, and I thought it was over. And then she texted me and said, hey, can we get back together and hang out? And I'm like, well, I'm free tonight. What am I going to do? And as of that night, I left that on that night, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. We're going to be together. Like, I'm going to take this chance. I love her as a person. I'm not in love with her, but I care about her greatly as a person. And then the next day I went out with 2 people just because of scheduling quirks. And now I'm like, I could date either of these 2. They're amazing. Well, what happened to that person the night before? Like, now I'm going to dick her over and I'm an asshole about it. And that's what concerns me, is that like I'm making these connections that seem genuine to me, and then I'm screwing people over. Like, how can I say I care about this person and then do what I did?
I mean, if you truly feel guilt and you feel bad about these things, then you're going to slow your roll. You need to slow your roll. Like, it's not about not having fun. You can still have fun. You can still go out with people. I think if you're worried about COVID and you're worried about people hating you, etc., you need to give people a chance to like you. I think you're creating this environment that whether it's true or not, that people are not going to like you, and it's almost like you're feeding into it. You're feeding into it.
Self-sabotage, which is why I wanted to start this episode with sabotage.
I get it. I get that part of it, but if you recognize it, then you need to think about making a change to make that different. Like, if these are great women that you're going out with.
I know I planned it. Sorry, I won't keep going.
Jeez. It's so hard to take you seriously, bro. Holy crap.
Can I read this text?
Again, can I just say, you can read this text in 1 second, but I know a lot of people, they reach out to you, and all I'm asking is for a few people to reach out to me and just give me some love, that I got to deal with this shit every effing day.
Did you just beg for love on a show?
I begged for love and support. I begged for love and support.
Everyone loves my brother. Please love me too.
I begged for love and support of people understanding what it's like to be on the other side of this. And
it sounded a little like Prairie Dawn on that one, if you can see. There's Prairie Dawn.
Oh my God. Please.
People need to love me.
Enough for the Muppets. All right, read me your next text, please.
This is not from someone who I met on a dating site. This is from someone who was upset with me for other intentions and other reasons, which I will not go into. You have to work harder to understand that your actions and words have consequences for which you are responsible, whether or not you care to stop and think about them in advance. And if you're not willing to do so, explicit tag coming up, then take your borderline personality and fuck off. That's the text that I got last night. I think that is not fair to the amount of work and effort that I have put in on that process. There is no medication for borderline, and I felt like I was conquering that, and I felt very self-aware and really, really tried hard over the last couple of months. And people who listen to the show, I think, can attest to that I'm trying very hard to not treat people as props. One of the things with borderline is you can't see yourself in other people's shoes. You can only see yourself as, it's basically like the me show, and everybody else is a character in it. That's what this week was. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, 100%. When that got brought up to me, like, you're talking about people on your show, they have lives. You're talking about going out on dates with people and then going out with somebody else right after that. They have lives. These people care about you, and then you screw them over. You complain about getting ghosted, and then you didn't even write this other person back or whatever. And I people are props, and I'm trying so hard. Like, I really genuinely am. And I know it sounds so stupid, because if I'm saying it out loud to you, Scott, then I probably should be conscious enough in the moment. But in the moment, my brain clicks on, and it's like, something fun. Let's do this. Something reckless. You need to be reckless. You've been a fuddy-duddy your whole life. Just go do something stupid. It's like I'm trying to get sick or put myself in a situation like I don't deserve to be happy. So now that I'm actually happy, I'm trying to do something that's going to fuck that up. And in the meantime, I'm creating a ton of collateral damage.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we, at one point when we were doing this early on, we mentioned that this was not a mental health podcast.
I chuckled.
That this is about that this is about divorced dads. So we're walking a fine line here on the mental health stuff. And I want to make sure we kind of swing it back to what it's like to be a divorced dad and dating, because that's more of what you're talking about.
Okay.
I will say to kind of transition that, I would say, look, Dan, you're I think everything you're saying is valid. I think you can't, I agree with whoever said that, or however you came up with that you can't be mad at people for ghosting you when you're doing it too. Right? We've said
Yeah.
this before, though. We've talked about this
Whoever
before.
I didn't make that text up, but go ahead.
I understand. I don't know who wrote it. I'm just saying. Uh, but whoever it is, I agree with.
I'm not sure I'm legally allowed to
and
tell you who it is.
okay, I'm not asking who it is. I'm just saying that I agree with it. So it doesn't matter who it is. Gotcha. Uh, and I also feel like, you do, like, this is bullshit, dude. Like, you text me while you're sitting there waiting for these dates. Like, you don't have to keep doing this like you are. I clearly, by the way, no offense to the woman who's amazing that was 45 minutes late. We
I don't think that.
texted for 45 minutes about the fact it was late. And what did I tell you? What was the last text that I sent you? What did I say?
No one is no. I think you said something to the effect of no one is 45 is worth waiting 45 minutes, something to that effect.
Correct.
Which, let me tell you, I sent her a text after 43 minutes and said, I'm going to leave in a minute, because you said leave after 45 minutes, and I was going to. And then I saw her walk in, and then we had a very candid conversation about how I don't think anyone is 45 minutes hot. Like, no one is hot enough to wait 45 minutes. No. But it became a thing. And then I realized, like, within an hour, she's 60 minutes hot. Like, I would have waited another, like, in retrospect, I would have waited another 15 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
She's a Republican too. Didn't vote
You're
for Trump,
you're crossing all the lines of the things I don't want to be doing. You're talking about too much mental health, and you're talking about politics. I don't like to talk about politics. You know that. And I want to make sure that we keep our audience. No, I don't like talking about politics.
Can we end on some fun?
Yeah, I mean, you keep interrupting me, though. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of getting lectured by you. So
you're not
getting something fun.
It's not getting lectures. You have to be open. If you're gonna open yourself up, you have to be open for feedback. Everyone who's listening is probably wondering, like, wait, what is this guy gonna do? We're gonna end the show and, like, okay, well, he's just really fucked up. Is he gonna keep dating like this? What's gonna happen? Is he gonna keep thinking?
Find out next time.
Ay. By the way, everyone listening, I'm gonna have to deal with this. I'm gonna have to deal with this off the show too.
Oh man, the count's not here. I was looking for the count.
How
many women will he date this week? 1, 2, 3. I will not date 3. I have the kids this weekend, so there'll be probably 0. But nonetheless, we don't have to end on fun. You know this you might have some things to talk about.
I would rather end on fun.
Okay, but if you have anything after that, but let's just get something fun that I did for the site that's up on the site, or will be shortly. And so this is going to be for you. This is like a little surprise for you. You haven't seen this yet.
Awesome.
All right, can you see it? Are you looking? Can you see what I'm seeing?
I can see what your favorite fruit says about you as a parent.
Yes. So we have this awesome quiz program that is attached to the site. Again, for those who just listen to the podcast, we have an entire site that helps people, a little less comedy and a little more actual insight and experts, and it's not just me talking about my brain. But some of we do like to have fun. And so we did on the show, it's got the Cardi B or Tinder, which is up on the site as well. People can actually take that quiz and see how they do, which is fun. Go do that one. But this one is fun too. I did with my kids, and they helped a great deal. And so I wanted you to take, you're the first person, at least in our world, to take this quiz. And I want you to, this is brand new.
It's groundbreaking.
Yeah. So for people who are just listening, you go to the site. It's what your favorite fruit. This is like the stupidest BuzzFeed quiz ever. I wanted to just make a dumb BuzzFeed quiz, which is redundant, but nevertheless, what your favorite fruit says about you as a parent. Are you ready? I'm gonna say it out loud. All right, let's go.
I'm ready.
Which of these berries do you like most? Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, or blackberries?
I mean, I'm assuming all this is going to be in season, right?
you've already overthought this quiz like by a factor of 12.
Okay, I'm gonna say blueberries.
Scott, Eddie, I'm not saying today. If I was going to throw a berry at your face, which would no? What is your favorite?
Love raspberry. I love raspberries. I'm not a strawberry fan at this point because there's not I like a good blackberry too, but I'll go with blueberries consistently. I'd rather have blueberries. I have blueberries in my fridge right now.
Which of these stone fruits do you like most? Plum, cherry, which is not a berry, is a stone fruit. Apricot, peach, or nectarine?
I'm gonna go with peach.
Peach. All right.
No idea what's gonna happen with this.
I spent a lot of time on this. I spent like days.
No, I know. I'm playing along. Keep going. I'm playing.
Which of these citrus fruits do you like most? Lime,
Clementine.
Tangerine, orange. What'd you say?
Clementine.
No,
For sure.
Scott, for people who are listening, I need to say the actual
I know,
options.
but it's an obvious clementine. Go, keep going.
Oh my darling, let me finish. Lime, tangerine, orange, lemon, grapefruit, or clementine. I heard clementine. If you can let me finish this one. Which of these melons do you like most? Cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon, or a cassava or canary melon, which is all in the Crenshaw melon. I was looking for a Santa Claus melon, but I couldn't find it.
Never heard of it. I'm going to go with, although I love watermelon, it doesn't make me feel good afterwards. I'm going to go with honeydew.
Yeah, that's another Simpsons line where Moe, they were caught in a net when they had pirates on the boat. They stole Mr. Burns' boat. And Moe Sislak says, I never got to try cantaloupe. And then it was Krusty. One of the other characters is like, honeydew, that's the money melon.
Keep going.
Which of these tropical fruits do you like most? Mango, fig, pineapple, coconut, or the wholesome banana?
Banana is considered a tropical fruit?
For the purposes of this quiz, the banana is a tropical fruit. Yes, it is. Yes.
I eat a banana. I eat at least one banana a day. So I'm going to go with banana, although I don't know. Yeah,
okay.
I'll go with banana.
Which of these exotic fruits do you like the most? Jackfruit, dragon fruit, durian, passion fruit, lychee, starfruit, or papaya?
Well, that's a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what a jackfruit tastes like, although I would ordinarily go with anything that's named after my kid. But I actually do appreciate the dragon fruit.
I like the dragon fruit because it's got like that very vibrant, like fuchsia color on the outside, but then the inside it's just like,
yeah,
it's like a white kiwi. Oh crap! I forgot to put kiwi on here anywhere. Huh.
I also have a dragon fruit. I used to get acai bowls, and then I changed over to dragon fruit as a part instead of the acai, and it's really tasty. For those of you out there that eat acai.
Thanks for that. I forgot acai and I forgot kiwi, so I'm glad that we're doing this. So for people who are taking this online, those will be options at some point as well. Won't change the math though. So dragon fruit is. Which of these grapes do you like most, Scott? Green grapes, red grapes, raisins, or wine?
I actually like red grapes.
Okay. Which of these vegetable-like fruits do you like the most? Tomato. I don't know why I said it like that. Squash, pumpkin, cucumber, plantain, which is essentially just a savory banana, olives, or avocado.
Interesting. Well, you know I don't eat tomatoes, so that's totally out. I do like avocado with a lot of things, but I'm going to go with cucumber. That's quite refreshing.
All right, cucumber. I think two more. Which of these palm fruits do you like most? A red apple, a green apple, a pear, or a mac?
A mac. I'm going to say a pear.
Okay.
And mac acts up sometimes.
All right. Do you want to answer your blah, blah, blah? I'm just going to say hi so we can keep going.
Yes.
You want to see? Are you ready? Are you ready for your results?
Can't wait.
Dun, dun, dun. You're a thoughtful parent, but you relish in being a little weird. You probably like embarrassing your kids wherever you can.
Facts. I do like to embarrass my children. And I am a very thoughtful parent. I don't know that I relish being a little bit weird, but close enough.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that, and frankly, I think I have about
which fruit? Dragon fruit probably made me a little weird. You think?
I don't want to tip off my algorithm, but no.
Skew the quiz. Okay.
That didn't have any impact. There's actually only one in that exotic fruit window that would actually change your answer in any way. Just
Interesting.
I'm not gonna tell you which one, but
No, please don't ruin it for everybody else. Let everyone else take it on their own. That was
Yeah.
I like little quizzes that take you. What's nice about quizzes like that is that they take you away from how annoying you were earlier to allow me to just, get back into the mode of my day.
do you have anything else today?
I have all kinds of stuff. I'll save some stuff for the site. How's that?
No, I mean we got time. Nobody's doing anything. We're good. Can listen.
I mean, I'll just what I would say is, we've talked about this before,
Can
and
you
I
do this
think
with
no
a
matter,
British accent because I'm really feeling the British thing with the turtleneck and the
I don't
jacket.
I don't do voices like you, Med.
Heretofore, I have believed that in this day, my belief system is such that.
You just like to turn it on me to talk so that you can sit here and make fun of me while I'm talking, don't you?
It's not difficult.
I mean, it should be more difficult. Anywho,
Oh my God.
I-
Yeah, anywho, I am back to my. Go ahead. Sorry.
is
I'm
it
not
going to be
sorry.
possible? Is it going to be possible for me to actually finish my sentence, or?
Time's yours.
So we talk a lot about communication. Period. Like just communication with each other, with our kids, with our exes, with dates, all that. I will say, just for everyone listening, that it only gets a little bit easier because, like anything, with time you gain experience. But communication, especially via text, is really, really hard. It's really hard. So those of you that are struggling, and those of you that maybe waking up and listening to this on your way into work, or
No one goes into work anymore. The whole world's shut down.
not true. Those of you who might be riding your Peloton in the morning, listening to us, and are riding even harder right now because you're stressed about a text string that you may have with somebody who is seemingly irksome. Just remember that context in texts is oftentimes lost, and just try and be the best person you can be.
Can you, and that's sage advice. I'm not belittling your advice. It's very good. And I will take that to heart. When someone who you love sends you, and if you are not willing to do so, take your borderline personality and fuck off. Is there a way to interpret that? Not the way that it was intended? Can I read into that? I don't think there's a way to read into that.
No,
I think there's only one way to read that.
I think about that the same way that I think about the texts that I receive on a regular basis from people who may get annoyed with the way that I go about things, is that I think people hide behind texts. I think people are more aggressive in texts. I think that people can be maybe not who they actually are in texts. And I think if you were to have that same conversation with somebody in person, you would never speak like that.
Yeah, Mom.
And I'm oftentimes, right. And I'm oftentimes, frankly, offended by the way people speak to me and to others that I've read when they've struggled with communication in their text. I'm offended by the way people speak via text, because I know these people, they would never talk like that in person. I mean, I think that that's a crap way of the evolution of communication, is that texting. And I see it with my kids. My kids barely speak sometimes because they more so like grunt. I know we probably did as kids too. I'm sure Mom would vouch for the fact that we grunted when we were younger. But I think texting and Snapchatting and all this other stuff, right? Like you're grunting now, of course. You are like a child. My third child, which I appreciate all the time. I think, are you gonna get out the goddamn record again?
No, so speaking of grunting, yeah, oh yeah, oh, me love grunting, oh yeah,
Ay.
oh yeah, oh.
Anyone, just please don't make me feel like I'm so alone in this.
I was going to do Grover, but I'm not great at Grover. I didn't practice Grover.
My final point is that I think texting is really tough. I think people say things they don't mean. I think you need to try really hard when you're texting. And I think you can't read too much into texts when they're negative. When they're positive, that's great. I love a great positive text. Hey, when somebody tells me, hey, thank you so much, really appreciate the guidance, stuff like that in a text makes me feel awesome. When people shit on me in texts, it makes me feel crappy, but I also realize that they would not be saying those same things if they were standing in front of me in person. So I keep it all in perspective. Although I will say, and I'm relating to you a little bit here, Dan, and probably everyone else who's thinking about their own text strings and who the top 5 people in their text strings are right now. If you look at those and think about those, I'll say they don't need to be as harsh as you're taking them.
Okay. I mean, in general, I agree. And again, this is why I'm not on Twitter, because Twitter is the ultimate impersonal text string.
Yes.
It's like texting someone you don't know. It's beer muscles, but
yes,
without,
that's a good way to put it.
Without the beer or with the beer, who knows? People could be,
right. Who knows?
Yeah. Drunk texting is, yeah. And so I understand that, Scott, but it one, like, when you hear that kind of stuff, it does hit close to home, and it's a very difficult, which again, like, I appreciate sincerely. I mean, I've been joking around a lot today, but that's deflection. I appreciate everyone listening to this as this process plays out, because I do feel, I think a couple of weeks ago I said that a woman who I'm not hanging out with anymore because the thing blew up, but I said I think she thinks that I'm like a sex monster. That's the term that popped into my head like earlier this week. I'm driving home, I'm like, damn it. Sex monster.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna talk there. I talked while you were drinking.
No, it's okay. I think, I was just thinking about this actually. I think we should get some like mugs, some like cool mugs to be. If there's anyone out there that has an idea for some cool mugs that can keep my coffee or tea warm throughout the entire show.
That's what I've done my whole career. I'm like the mug pun guy.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know how many mugs and shirts and...
Nope. I also get us some mugs, dude. Get us some mugs. My
what
tea.
An asshole.
My tea. Why am I an asshole for not knowing that you were into mugs?
By the way, let me tell you, if you would have clicked on one of the other options for your favorite grape, you would have gotten a fun pun. So there you go.
Interesting. So if I would have picked wine, I would have gotten a fun pun.
I didn't say that. Raisins is an interesting answer too.
Yeah, but raisins just are not even what that was the last of the 4.
Okay.
I was almost going to pick wine, but we're doing this early in the morning. I just felt like grapes was more appropriate. Maybe if I do it later today. It's 1 o'clock somewhere. Is what you said?
It's wine o'clock somewhere. You never heard that?
Wine o'clock. Yeah, I have heard that. By the way, that whole context, and I hopefully you found that useful too for your text. I actually was talking about myself, believe it or not,
okay.
and to try and help everyone else out there to realize that texts are sometimes tough, especially when you're in a day. You get this way. I was having this.
I listened to the whole thing. Hold on. I knew you were talking about. I was trying to be respectful and listen. I mean, except for the Sesame Street.
I appreciate it for the most part. Okay. I think the other point that I was trying to make is that, days are tough, and I see you reaching for something. I don't know why I bother. I'll try and make it quick. Days are tough, and sometimes many things happen at once. I don't know why the world works this way. That if you're having a little bit of a tough day, and then all of a sudden another thing gets thrown at you, and another thing gets thrown at you, and another thing, it becomes very overwhelming. And what you need to do is you need to try and, not get too overwhelmed with it, and take them each as they come and try and knock it out. I think I had this experience last night where I just felt extremely overwhelmed by the amount of people that needed me for help in things. Mm-hmm. And some were being nice about it, some were not. And I got overwhelmed, and I needed to try and process it. And it's hard. And all I want to say is that for people that have struggles, you have very unique struggles. I think some people can relate to the things you're dealing with, and other people probably think you're on the edge of what they can relate to.
What I've
I'm
learned
trying
is
to be
that
more
more people can relate to me in some regard than they admit publicly. That's what I've
yeah,
learned in my
I think
experience. That
that's
more
probably
people
accurate.
can actually relate to what I'm going through than I think will admit.
Yeah.
So,
Which is why we're doing what we're doing. And it's why we started this, is because we not only to help each other, but also to help everyone out there who is like that is probably closer to what you're thinking, but not
right.
admitting it. I think that's part of the deal. But my point being that, to a lesser extreme, some days are just really hard. And sometimes you have to find like the best thing of the day to get you through those hard pieces. And I'll use the example of yesterday. Yesterday just was not a great day. It wasn't terrible, right? Like I, I keep it all in relative context to what is happening to other people in the world. I understand. I don't have such a horrible life. I've worked very hard for my life. I don't have such a horrible life. But I was having a tough day yesterday. And I always end my day trying to find something positive that happened in my day. And you know what? The best thing that happened to me yesterday was that and we did this in a show before, and I was mad that the lawn people came and were cutting the grass, but they hadn't been here in like 2 weeks, and so many leaves fell. It was like insane, and the kids were tracking the leaves into the house, and it was just like so messy. Those lawn people came yesterday and got all the leaves off my yard down to the curb. And you know what? At the end of my day, when I look back on it and all the crappy things that happened, I took pleasure in the fact that the positive was that my yard is clear and the leaves are down to the curb and nobody's been tracking them into my house anymore. So you got to always try and find, even if it's a small thing like that, you always got to try and find the positive in your day.
Oh, well, I mean, I've had many positives in my last few days, but the most positive thing I did yesterday was spend, and I'm not even exaggerating, Scott, probably 5 hours setting up our entire communication platform for the site and for the company on Discord, which is amazing. For people who don't know Discord, one, get on it and then join our server, because you're all welcome, whether you're a member or not. You have more benefits, certainly, as a member than when you don't. But your kids are on Discord. And if you don't believe me, go ask your kids, hey, do you know what Discord is? Because everyone who's like, I don't know Discord, I'm like, you need to know Discord.
Was I not on the phone with you when I came and asked Jack and Luke? And they both said to me, like, yeah. I said, have you ever heard of Discord? And they're like, yeah. Why are you talking about that? You're old.
Right. The 45-minute woman, I was texting with her. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm setting up our thing on Discord. She's like, what's Discord? I said, it's basically Slack for gamers, is the easiest way to explain it. And she said, oh my God, I just asked my kid, who I think is 12, and she laughed that I didn't know what Discord was. So
yeah, there we go.
And you know who you can thank for that? You can thank my kids and our older brother, who is in his 50s and watches Twitch and is on Discord all day. It's only as old as you feel. You know, it's not about.
We should get Paul on here one day.
Terrible idea.
I think we should get Paul on here. I think that would be funny.
So considering that everyone who's watched the show, I think I did it like in one of the first episodes, but there you go. Everyone who's watched the show, you know that there's a giant Baby Yoda behind me from The Mandalorian. Baby Yoda can't really talk, but theoretically Yoda could talk about that. So I think that maybe if Yoda had advice for us bringing Paul on here, he would say, good idea. That is not boring. That conversation will be.
I actually think it would be fun. Or if people aren't watching the video, we could just pretend you're him and you could do his voice too.
Paul, I don't know if I could do Paul's voice, but what I can do is this green guy, speaking of green guys, which I haven't done yet, and say, I think it's the end of the show. So before I kick it over to you for your signature sign off, I would just say, scram. What do you got?
Do you have any music to play us out, or is this me?
Yeah, no, it's just you, because my left monitor of the 3 monitors I have just died in the middle. When I froze, it just died, so I can't actually call up any music, because that's where I had all the music.
Well, I'll then end this with no music, unless you want me to do a little
Everyone
karaoke.
makes mistakes, so yes, they do.
Right.
Your sister and your brother and your other brother too. Big.
Now you're just making that up.
It's your sister, your brother, and your dad and mother too. But we have 2 brothers. And
your other brother. That's what I was saying. You're making that up. Okay, so I am sincerely hopeful that this conversation was helpful, both to you and to everyone who's listening, because we talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of real stuff. You might be feeling some of these things. If you are, again, get involved, help other people out. Like, just don't be an asshole. You know, like I think that's one of the things we're trying to figure out here is like appreciate it. And at the end of the day, think about that one great thing that happened in your day. And you know, if you really can't, you know, my all-time moniker, which is, you know, kids first. It's always a great day when you have kids.